Have you ever stared at a simple piece of paper and felt your whole world collapse? I was standing in our kitchen, the late afternoon sun slanting across the marble countertops on Rush Street, holding a hotel receipt I'd found in my wife Sarah's purse. It was from the Thompson, Chicago, a place just 10 minutes from our home. The date was from 2 nights ago, a night she told me she was working late on a big merger deal. The charge was for a king suite and $200 in room service. My hands were shaking. I wasn't on the receipt. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows.
Ow.
The next few days were a blur of hollow smiles and forced normalcy. Sarah was more radiant than ever. She'd hum while making her morning coffee, her phone buzzing constantly with what she called work updates. But her eyes were different. When she looked at me, it was like she was looking through me, a polite but distant gaze reserved for a stranger. The woman I'd married, the one I'd built a life with over 12 years, was gone. In her place was this polished, cold imposter. I started noticing other things, the way she'd angle her phone away from me, the sudden need for girls' nights out that ended with her stumbling in long after midnight, smelling of a cologne that wasn't mine. One evening, I came home early from a business trip, hoping to surprise her. The apartment was dark, but a low murmur came from our bedroom. I pushed the door open to find her on the phone, her back to me. She was laughing, a soft, intimate laugh I hadn't heard in years. "Oh, you're terrible," she whispered into the phone. "No, he has no idea. He's so trusting, it's almost sad." Then she saw my reflection in the window. Her face went pale. "I have to go," she snapped, ending the call. She turned, her expression hardening. "You're home early," she said, not as a question, but as an accusation. That night was the first time she truly showed her new self. "Al." She gaslighted me, calling me paranoid and controlling for questioning her. She twisted my love into a weakness, my concern into suspicion. She told me I was suffocating her, that my insecurity was pushing her away. I felt like I was going insane. Was I the problem? Her words were like acid, dissolving the very foundation of my reality. I apologized. I actually apologized for feeling hurt. She slept with her back to me, an icy wall between us in our own bed. I lay awake all night, staring at the ceiling, the silence screaming louder than any argument. That's when the hurt curdled into something else, something cold and sharp. I spent the next week like a ghost in my own life. At work, my partners at the law firm noticed I was distracted, my focus gone. I'd sit in my corner office overlooking Millennium Park, not seeing the view, just replaying her words, her lies. The breakdown came on a Tuesday. I was trying to review a contract, but the letters on the page swam together. I locked my office door, sank into my chair, and just shattered. It was a silent, ugly cry, the kind that rips you apart from the inside out. I mourned my marriage, the woman I thought I knew, and the fool I'd been. When the tears finally stopped, there was nothing left but a cold, quiet emptiness. And in that void, a single, clear thought took root. I was done being the victim. It was time to get even. My grief sharpened into a weapon. I was a lawyer, after all. I knew the system. I started gathering evidence with methodical precision. I installed a keylogger on our home computer. The emails I found were graphic, hundreds of them, detailing every sordid meet-up with her boss, a smarmy senior partner at her investment firm named Marcus Thorne. They mocked me in their exchanges, calling me the warden and Mr. Predictable. They laughed about how I was funding their little escapades. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who followed them to lunch at Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse, to drinks at the Aviary, and back to the same king suite at the Thompson. He gave me a folder thick with photos, high-resolution images of them kissing, holding hands, looking every bit the happy couple. Each photo was a fresh stab in the heart, but I filed them away. My emotional detachment growing with every piece of proof. The final piece of the puzzle was financial. Sarah had been siphoning money from our joint account into a private one, small amounts at first, then larger transfers. She was building a nest egg, preparing to leave me once she'd secured her promotion, which Marcus had all but guaranteed her. The arrogance was staggering. I thought they were untouchable, They had no idea they were walking into a perfectly constructed legal and social bear trap. The day I chose for my revenge was our 13th wedding anniversary. Sarah had, with breathtaking audacity, arranged a surprise party for me at a chic restaurant in the West Loop. She wanted to look like the perfect, doting wife in front of all our friends, family, and colleagues. My colleagues? Her colleagues? It was perfect. I walked into the restaurant, feigning surprise. Sarah rushed to my side, planting a cold kiss on my cheek. "Happy anniversary, darling," she whispered, her eyes shining with false sincerity. Marcus was there, standing near the bar, and he gave me a smug little nod. The room was filled with laughter and champagne. For 2 hours, I played the part of the happy husband. I smiled. I accepted congratulations. I even gave a short, heartfelt speech about my incredible, loving wife. Sarah beamed, soaking in the applause. Then, it was time for my gift to her. "I have one more surprise for everyone," I announced, my voice carrying across the silent room. A large screen at the end of the room flickered to life. Sarah looked at me, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. The first image appeared, a crystal-clear photo of her and Marcus. Kissing outside the Thompson Hotel, a collective gasp went through the crowd. Sarah's face drained of all color. The slideshow continued. Photos of them at dinner, laughing. Text messages projected for all to see, their cruel words about me lighting up the screen, emails detailing their plans. Bank statements showing her theft. With every click, another layer of her perfect life was stripped away in front of everyone she knew. When the last imager receipt for a king suite and $200 in room service faded to black, the silence was absolute. I turned to look at Sarah. Her face was a mask of horror and disbelief. Her colleagues, her friends, her family, everyone stared at her with a mixture of pity and disgust. Marcus had already slipped out the back door like the coward he was. I walked over to our table, picked up a single manila envelope, and slid it in front of her. "Happy anniversary," I said, my voice quiet and even. "Those are the divorce papers. I've already filed them. Our joint accounts have been frozen, and the locks on the apartment have been changed. Everything you own is in a storage unit. The address is inside." She just stared at the envelope, her hands trembling. She didn't cry, she didn't scream. She just sat there, utterly and completely broken, a monument to her own deceit. The next day, she was fired. Marcus was fired too. Their affair had violated company policy, and the public humiliation was too much for the firm. She lost her job, her husband, her home, and every friend she had in one single night. I heard later she moved back in with her parents in another state. I sold the apartment on Rush Street. I moved to a quiet neighborhood, away from the noise and the memories. Sometimes late at night I think about that evening. I don't feel triumph or satisfaction, just a profound, chilling emptiness. Vengeance is not sweet. It's just silent. The end.